It's an honor for me to be here with Nancy, Jorge, and Steve. And you know, Steve was called in at the 9th hour right out of the bullpen. And he pitched a great inning. Thank you. And Jorge and I go back a little bit, and I'm so impressed with the data that he provides and the fact that he is a scholar, and you can see it. It comes out loud and clear, and I think that Sac City is enriched tremendously with his leadership. Yes, I want to talk a little bit about the sacredness of your work. Now, any one of you could stand up here and articulate a message. I simply want to say that I've been at this business for a while, and the visceral effect of the conditions of education in our nation scream at me. It's going to exceed my lifetime, for sure. Perhaps your lifetime as well. But if you go back to the old API for just a minute, and you think of the students who were rutted in deciles 1 and 2, when was NCLB put into law? 2000 approximately to 2012 was supposed to be the end of it. I think it was people just saying, give them enough rope and they'll hang themselves, okay? You think you can do it? We want all kids are going to be above the mean. They're not going to be lagging behind. And yet, if you look at those kids, they are still there. They're English learners. They're kids of color. They're African-American students. There's white children that are still stuck in those deciles, and that is lamentable, because we now as a nation can no longer meet the workforce needs of this great country. And we are now at the point where we have to rely on H-1B visas to import labor into the United States. And I'm not disparaging that. I mean, Bill Gates has even argued before the Congress that don't cut that spigot off. We need those people here. So that's not my issue today. But then when I think of the kids, the young people that are stuck in, in institutions or who are incarcerated, and Latinos who are underachieving, and African Americans, so many kids, I'm saying you should be tomorrow's engineers in this great country. You know, you should be those who ascend into these positions, as opposed to us having to depend on others. So, folks, it is you and me. It is us, those of us in the education system, that are going to make the difference in the lives of our students. And you know that this is sacred work, because you're turning the light bulb on. You know, they're going from a state of darkness to light. All the indices of human dysfunction are tied to education. And most of our kids are educated in the public schools. And California is the big dog, 6.3 million students, as you know. We are the big dog. I used to work for the College Board, and I'd find myself around the country comparing states. Nobody is like California, nobody. Just an example, I was just in Colorado. They have 800,000 students. LA Unified has 650,000. You know, just to give you a sense of scale. Nobody looks like us. So California can lead, and I think this is a propitious time. I think we are right now at the center of leading. I'm a big fan of what the governor and Michael Kirst and others have done with LCFF. It's not perfect, but I think it's moving us in the right direction. And so what we have done is the Orange County Department of Education, we teamed up with Butte County. And Butte County, you know that county is out here in Sacramento, and that county deals with rural America. They've been doing mini-core since 1968. If anybody has an archive of information of how to reach those in rural America, it is Butte County. And you talk about a hot spot. I mean, the College Board right now is saying, you know, rural America is our big focus, because those places are depleted of resources. It doesn't matter what your skin color is, or your ethnic group, or your socioeconomic status. You know, people in those communities are suffering tremendously. So we competed for $10 million. It was called a multi-tiered system of support. You heard that earlier. Dr. Kirst referenced that. And it was designed for 2 county offices to get this money, to really focus on social emotional learning. But the goal is academic achievement. And we all know that cognition is harnessed by the metacognitive, right? I mean, even Sal Khan talks about this with Khan Academy. And we have a great relationship with him in the southern part of the state. There's 6 county officers that are working closely with Khan Academy. But he talks about the fact that somebody asked him, well, what do you think of the metacognitive skills? We like to call them soft skills. They're not soft skills. They're the hardest skills of all. He goes, well, all of cognition is predicated upon the metacognitive skills, the habits of mind skills, show up on time, do that paper, know how to manage your life, how to manage your path. That's what's most important, because if you think about it, if you look at just for a moment, elite athletes or musicians, they are in an elite category, like Olympic performers. They know that they're gifted. They work on their giftedness. But when it comes right down to it, it's going to depend on the metacognitive skills to nail that 10 if you're a gymnast. And so what we have done, and this is really something that frustrates me to no end, if you go back to the early 70s, the Back to the Basics movement, the only thing that we have been concerned with is one metric, the test score. And whether it be your statewide testing or the SAT or the ACT or PISA or TIMSS or whatever, NAEP, that's the only thing that we've been concerned with. And you could have high test scores and bad teaching, just as you could have low test scores and good teaching, right? And we have literally leaped over this whole body of knowledge that Piaget, Erik Erikson, these great child development specialists and psychologists have told us that our kids need. So our whole quest now with a multi-tiered system of support, we sought this money, they gave us $10 million, and then guess what happened? The governor made a line appropriation and gave us another $20 million, $30 million. And if you're in a district and you are not connected with us through MTSS, you can immediately get $25,000 just to help you with differentiated assistance. So Lonnie, the supervisor out of the Bay Area, I forget her last name, just went out of my mind. What? Hancock. Lonnie Hancock was a big supporter of this, largely because of the imperative justice groups, social justice groups. They're saying we're suspending these kids. In fact, the first dashboard that we just revealed last month showed that those who got into differentiated assistance were largely for school suspension or for how they were treating their foster kids. And so the whole goal here was we've got to fix this, and we have a chance right now through the multi-tiered system of support. And what it is simply a framework of analyzing the needs of an organization. We teamed up with the University of Kansas. Wayne Saylor, he's a proficient writer in the area of special education. He is a father in many ways of what, a psychologist, what do kids in special education need? And so this model is born out of the world of special ed. Remember, special ed kids are regular ed kids too. They're regular ed kids first. So what was born out of their needs, and that was then extrapolated to have this go across the entire nation. So they created this system-wide integrated framework for transformation called SWIFT, University of Kansas. So SWIFT is integrated into the MTSS framework. And this, I think, is a whole area of accountability because it's amazing to me. Of the 58 counties in the state, I heard a county superintendent tell me the other day, well, we have some districts that have not even implemented the Common Core. And I said, do you know that the state board approved the Common Core as our state standards in 2010? And we are 2018 and you haven't done this? What are you going to do when they take SBAC, which is all predicated upon the Common Core, for the most part, and college and career readiness and success? So we've taken that, we've taken these 4 quadrants that Dr. Conley, David Conley, has created through EPIC. He's no longer there, he's got a new business. But Dr. Conley, who's been a renowned leader in school, college and career readiness and success, think, act, know, go are the quadrants. And I would take an hour to go into that, but you can look at that. But that's embedded into this multi-tiered system of support. And the whole thing about this is that the county offices become a hub of serving their districts. And the county offices have to be fortified so they do a good job. It can't just be a few. All of them have to be doing this work. And the county offices that have perhaps more resources can help those in perhaps rural areas that don't have the resources to be successful. But the whole point is to look at what's going on in that school. Is there a model, an analytical model, a framework that is built on a body of research that shows what is necessary to make that a high-achieving school? And it's not easy work. People get up here, these vendors, they try to sell you 10 steps, and they're going to turn the whole thing overnight into a rocket ship type high school. That is not going to happen. It's going to require a lot of hard work, but we have to be on the track. This business across the United States is a several trillion-dollar business, which exceeded, except for the last administration, and the new administration may be different now, but it exceeded the national defense budget. That's how much money goes into education, as you all know. So we have to do our due diligence. We have to be on top of this. And so the multi-tiered system of support, I don't have a graphic up here, but I left one on the table if you want to grab it on your way out. It's all aligned with LCFF and LCAP, and it shows you how this system plays out in your schools. And the task that we have had is to create an MTSS model across California. And so far, we're in cohort 2. It's the second year of this. And I think that things are going really well. We've had some hiccups along the way, but we are on the right track. And men and women, I think that, that this is what needs to happen. And if you need any more information on this or you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them.